Great time to walk. I'm just recovering from yesterday's eclipse. I'm wondering whether you had that experience. I know a lot of people felt pretty washed out after during and after the eclipse. The eclipse signals a cutting off of specific energies. Yes, that's the sun in which the moon has traversed across. But the sun and the moon relate to archetypal principles, and those principles are manifest within ourselves. The sun is the self as such. It's the significator of one's identity, one's persona. And the moon is representative of the mind. So it's interesting that that whole process is one of, in the solar eclipse, the new moon eclipse, the moon manas or mind eclipsing the sun, self, that conscious component of ourselves. That is why I was saying up to and including the eclipse, especially with the influence of Mars, that there was an element of reaction on the emotional level. And we saw that leading up the eclipse. It wasn't just under yesterday's eclipse. Beautiful sky. No eclipse today. So it was leading up to that. It intensified, and actually the eclipse often shows its results over time, and depending on the country or personal birth chart, we can determine the length. In this particular eclipse, the strongest results will be felt up to the next 9 months. But of course, especially in the political arena, when some of those effects are dramatic, as we saw immediately under the shadow hitting Africa, Egypt beating its war drums to Libya, those results will of course manifest and have repercussions for a long time, not just for the 9 months. So that's all scholarly talk. How do you actually use these energies for your self-improvement, eradication of those parts of your personality you want to get rid of, for success, materially, emotionally, spiritually? My understanding from my mentors and their knowledge of astrology goes down through the ages, are of the opinion that the eclipse is a great opportunity, in the period after the eclipse, to accelerate anything you want. Now, it's probably a little retrospective now, talking about the eclipse that happened yesterday, but generally under the eclipse it's a good idea to sit quietly, not be outside, be mindful of yourself, focus on that thing that is really important to you. My astrology master told me that the energies under the eclipse accelerate and amplify anything you're doing by 1,000 times. That's why they advocate doing your meditation and your different mantras, sitting there with your beads. Generally they say it's a good idea also to sit in a bath or a lake or a river, and that's very, very cleansing to the electromagnetic energy. On the one hand they say stay indoors, the other they say if you're in the in the water, then it has a tonic influence. But under the eclipses, my recommendation is to sort of be indoors. A lot of viruses sprout the eclipse, and there's a radical shift in the electromagnetic energy of the Earth and of us individually. And depending on where that eclipse takes place in your birth horoscope, we can determine, one, what sort of influences are likely to occur. Number two, what sorts of counteractive measures can be taken to reduce the negative influences on your life. So that's the utility of it. Some of these astrologers go to great extremes. They say that after the eclipse you should actually change all your clothes, wash them, antisepticize the place, go and feed certain animals to, exchange the energy. I think, as I did yesterday, just stay indoors and bring your mind to what it is you want to manifest. That focus could be a spiritual objective, it could be more money, it could be a beautiful person in your life if you're looking for a relationship. And so that is a practical way to utilize the energies of the eclipse. And shortly there's a lunar eclipse coming, and we'll be talking about that as well, and seeing how that's going to trigger perhaps some of the things that we saw in the promise of this solar eclipse of June 2020. Thanks for joining me. Astrology.com.au. I've written about 10,000 words on this eclipse and each individual star sign, how it may be impacting you. So do pop in, take a look at that. Drop me a line if you need to ask me any questions, and I look forward to your company. And also the 12 monthly horoscopes coming up right now.